Alrighty, what's going on, guys? So today, I just wanted to make a quick video. I'm gonna try to do this. This is gonna be kind of hard for me because I can be long-winded, but I wanted to talk a little bit about spec and tolerances. In dealing with different manufacturers and designs, and so uh, I end up trying to duplicate uh, my G19, and I ran into a few issues, and I thought I would share a few of those and what you can do about it, and some of the things I'm going to. So let's get into it. So we have right here is well, not a G19, but a G23, and anybody knows anything about Glock, the slogan is perfection, and what that means is that perfection, what they're talking about, specifically when it comes to tolerances. And so, anytime you're gonna try to do any type of upgrades, and if the tolerances ain't up to par, then it's not gonna get along well with the Glock design. So, um, this is an aftermarket slide that I got, and it had several issues. Some that's more uh, apparent than others, and namely, there's a huge difference in which I did a little bit of alterations in the feed ramp. And the feed ramp, of course, is right here. This is Glock's feed ramp. This is the aftermarket feed ramp. When I got it originally, this feed ramp had a clean cut 90-degree angle on it, and it would not even go on the battery. So I did a little bit of fouling, and I'm sure I might do a little bit more just to even get it to function. But then you see that Glock's feed ramp is anything but a 90-degree angle. In fact, it has a few facets. One right here, one right here, before it goes kind of like a downward angle, and then even the front face, where it even starts to angle, that's going to be important because that's what actually brings the bullet into the chamber. So that's a glaring spec that's not going to be acceptable. That was easy to find, but what was harder to find was this tolerance. So, um, a lot of times when you get aftermarket parts, you want to like stack them side by side and kind of see what the differences are. Some of them could possibly be acceptable, some of them might not be. Let's give an example. So let's look at um, a the Glock firing pin versus the aftermarket firing pin. And if you look at them, it's a huge difference. How did it play into the going in the battery uh, process? Uh, this is a G23. This is a G23. So that's going to play a huge part. Now, um, you have to pay attention to the little bitty small things. This is going to be, I call it the small plunger. I don't know if it's the actual name of it, but let's see if I can put some light on it. So on this small plunger, if you look at the factory small plunger, the head of it has a bevel on the crown, a really nice clean bevel on the crown of it. If you look at this aftermarket small plunger, it it does not have a, see if it's coming into focus. It does not really have a very pronounced bevel on the crown. And in a little bit, you can see how that affects the whole going in the battery process. So, you got those two. And now we're going to look at the long plunger. Now, these long plungers, they actually play a very important role. Let's see if I can, let's see, get some light on it. No, my light ain't dead. Well, maybe I can bring it closer. All right, come into focus. And these little bitty small, what they call tolerances, are really important. All right, so you see the head on it? One of the head is rounded. That's the aftermarket head. And this is a metal part. And then you see on the right side is the OEM Glock standard and it's flat. And you might think that, I don't know, 200ths of a millimeter will not affect how the gun works, but you're going to see in a little bit. So this is going to be a little bit out of the spec. All right. One of the last things, but not least, these are the extractors. All right. Now, these extractors are fairly similar. I need a better light. All right. Time to pull out the big dog. That might be too much. I'm gonna make it work. All right. So, all right. Now these extractors, come on, let me like, let's place it right here. Like that. These extractors right here, and it's really gonna be a small difference. I don't know how I'm gonna get these into focus. But on the see, let me make sure that I'm seeing it right. Okay. Bam. Bam. Yeah, because that light is in my face. Okay, yeah. All right. So on the left side, it's too much light. Turn it down a notch. Right there. How about that? So on the left side is the Glock extractor. And on the right side is the aftermarket extractor. Now, if you notice, on the Glock extractor, it has a little bitty tab and it actually has a lip on it. See if y'all can. And these little bitty small things make a big difference. See if you can see that little lip. It's got a lip on it, right? That's how Glock made it, and I'm sure they have a reason for it. Let's look at the aftermarket. On the aftermarket extractor, it's no lip. Just a smooth surface, right? And so let's see how it all comes together. And then there's one more big thing I have to show you guys, and this is going to be really important. On the actual slides themselves, put these to the side, there is a disparity between the actual channel lengths, and you're going to see like how it comes into play. So first, let's start off with the standard. Try this really quick. So let's put the aftermarket long plunger into the slide. All right. And so we got it in there. Aftermarket in there. And put a flashlight. Okay. And it's in there. And what we want to do is, because we want a precise measurement, how we're going to measure it is, check these tolerance, we're going to put the back of the plunger flush against the back face of the Glock and see the clearance room that it has for the extractor seat to be placed in. And it has a decent amount of room, right? But actually, when you put, that was the aftermarket, when you put the factory long plunger in, and we want to keep the consistency with our test, and we have it pretty much flush against the back face. Look at all that room. And what am I talking about? What room am I talking about? That room right there. This little bitty hole right here. And why is that important? Let's go ahead and put our extractor in there. Just gonna put it in there real quick, right? And it has a little bit of room to wiggle. Okay? It has a bit room to wiggle. And it needs to wiggle because this is the extractor that's in charge of, when you fire a round, of taking the bullet out, and so that you can put another round in, you don't get a failure feed. And I'm just gonna do this real quick, and this is gonna be I want it to be a little 50-minute video. Now, when you put it in the aftermarket, flush, because we want to be consistent with the back of the slide, and you see it does not have as much room in the plunger channel. And what's going to happen is, when you put your extractor in there, it's already fighting me, but it's in there now, right? Now, it doesn't move freely. It doesn't move as freely because there's just not as much room. And so that's an example of tolerance stacking that you want to watch out for. So there's some things that you can do about it. I'm not no professional gunsmith, so don't listen to me because I don't know anything. But I can tell you this: to get around the issue that we having with these, with this slide being a little bit out of spec of Glock tolerances is just two things you can do. The first thing you can do is get it even. Just shave down that head, shave down that head a little bit, and that'll get you closer to tolerances and specifications so that you can have a functioning firearm. That's one thing you can do. Shave that head down a little bit, right there, and that's gonna bring you a little bit closer. That's one thing that you can do without, because you never want to alter your real firearm. Shave that head down a little bit to where it has a flatter surface, like the OEM specifications. Uh, that's one thing you can do. And the other thing that you can do to try to bring it into specs is probably get you a better quality slide, and that's probably what I recommend. And that'll probably be the best thing. And so, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is a 23. What's up, everybody? And this is one of the things I like to do, especially when I'm in between jobs and stuff. Is kind of playing with these parts and stuff, because you can learn a whole lot of stuff. But you had to have a really good eye for detail. Even like this. This is the small plunger. And this is, like I said, it's pretty much in spec. And the only difference is, and I'm not going to be mad, is the spring is just a little bit taller on one than the other. There's a small tolerance that, to me, that's acceptable. The standard is on the left, the aftermarket is on the right. That's one tolerance that's acceptable. But as far as the actual slide itself, the length of the plunger channel is unacceptable. I'm gonna probably write a review about that. And then this feed ramp was I don't want to talk about that, but thank you guys for watching. When you doing this kind of stuff, pay attention to detail, especially when using aftermarket parts. Just watch what you're doing. But catch you guys on the next one. Peace.